Welcome home. We are WNST. Towson, Baltimore. Baltimore Positive. We're positively up here at Kooper's North. Not to be confused, the Kooper and Fells Point will be there next Friday for Fleet Week. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. Got Pac-Man scratch-offs to give away. Had a $20 winner over here. I'm a Dundalk guy that lived downtown all these years, and I live out in the county now, even though I'm in the city 4 days a week. I was at Fadley's earlier this week. I'll be downtown this weekend for the Orioles. I came up here earlier, and I sat at the bar with Megan. Early, about 12:30. Patrick Russell's back on the program. Terry's here as well. And I sat at the bar here, and the gumbo came, and this folks got some gumbo, and they ordered the cup, and then he ordered like a whole platter. He thought like he was getting he said, I thought I was getting this little thing of gumbo, and they bring him this vat. So then they brought him his food. He couldn't eat it all. We got to talking, and they're like, where are you from? And I said, Dundalk. And they're like, hey, we're from Dundalk too. And I'm like, man, people from Dundalk can be from anywhere up here. Turns out they're not really from Dundalk. They're from Patapsco. We wouldn't say that. You guys, man, you amateurs with your headsets. Can you hear it on both sides now? Yes. Jeez, these guys are great.
Hey, I was fine.
But I did not expect to meet two Gray Manor Dundalk people. They said they've lived up here for 35 years. They're Dundalk people. We're everywhere. We've even infiltrated Kooper's North up here.
I don't know how they let you out.
Well, for you guys up here in the Kooper's North, for Terry and I've known for a long time, coming up here. You're a cancer survivor like my wife. You come on the show. I remember coming in here maybe about 5 years ago. It was one of your posts with the damn St. Patrick's Day brisket that you're so proud of. Dr. Lou.
Yeah.
What is in that? Is that Dr. Pepper? What's in that?
No. So Dr. Lou is actually my partner here. I have two small partners at Kooper's North.
Okay.
And they're friends of mine. And
okay.
But Dr. Lou is Lou Hellickman. He's a surgeon. He's a retired surgeon.
He's a real doctor.
Yeah.
I thought he was a doctor of corned beef.
No, he is. Too.
Okay,
I
didn't know. All right.
So he has a method of the way he does the brisket, and it is unbelievable. It is second to none.
Well, you bragged about it. You showed videos of it. So it's right before COVID, probably 18 or 19, because I did the show in here during COVID at one point. I did like a show in here with Cal Ripken Senior people. So I've been here a couple times through the course of time having your gumbo. But you were the one at the bar that you recognized me. We get to talk, and you're like, hey, you ever had the gumbo here? And I'm like,
hey, Terry?
Yeah. And I'm like, no. He's like, I'm going to get you a little something. Dude, it must be like giving crack out. You know what I mean? Like, because you gave it to me, and now there are days where, like, it's cold out. I don't feel like driving my ass over here. My wife's like, Grubhub, whatever. And I'm like, I'll go out. Well, I'll find some excuse to go over Bredonia Road, find some other reason, stop by Curio, stop by Wise Market. So right. So I will come over here, but it's because I would not have ordered it, right? Yeah. I mean, I would have come – because I think of you for burgers. When my wife was battling the battle, her first battle – the first time she came out of the house after she left the hospital from 45 days, the original battle, Kim Knight was my traffic gal forever. Kim wanted to spend time with my wife, and we met her here. This was the first restaurant my wife came into when she survived the first time. And she didn't get much. I think a little soup or whatever. But I never thought to order the gumbo. That's why I'm always yelling about it. I mean, do you yell about it enough?
You know it was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, right?
Yeah, but you don't yell about it enough.
I know.
You know? Everybody who walks in here should know how good it is, and he made me know. How'd you know I was going to love it?
Just because it's on the spicy. Most guys, I would say, like are Maryland crab, cream of crab, but the gumbo's more of a New Orleans style spicy.
It's a meal.
Dundalk,
soup, and
New Orleans.
Right, exactly.
It's right there.
Well, look, I don't tell restaurateurs how to do things, okay? But here's my recommendation for you, especially for this gentleman over here that got this vat of it and didn't know what to do with it except to eat it, and then he didn't have any room for his rat. You serve this little thing of rice in the middle of it. I think you should serve a thing of rice, a small thing of rice, and just one ladle of the just a little bit of that. That could be its own little mini appetizer, just because if people order that, they would want the whole thing.
Right.
But I like the rice because it is spicy. I always want to can you give me some more rice? I beg you to give me more because it is a little I need something with it. That's all.
It's got a little kick.
Whose recipe is that?
Mine. I went down to New Orleans a couple times.
Okay.
And did a little research and development. Stumbled across a few bars, had some gumbo, some oysters.
Is that got chocolate in it? Like, what's in it? I don't.
No, there's no chocolate.
Mole? Is it what is it?
No, I'm telling you.
Can't give the secret recipe out.
Talking about what's in it.
Tell everybody what's it's got andouille
Gumbo
sausage.
filet. Okay.
It's got some fish in it, right?
No.
No?
Crab.
It's crab.
Crab,
Okay.
chicken. Not chicken. Crab.
Do you know what's in your gumbo?
Crawfish. Sorry. Crawfish.
It's
Shrimp.
got crawfish is what
and
that's
shrimp.
what makes it
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, and then what I don't put in it is okra. And a lot of people do put okra in it, and that kind of thickens it up, and it kind of makes it mushy. So I stayed away from that. It's all about the roux. It's all about sitting there for hours and making sure.
That's
that you
flour.
Really, flour and butter. Just whisk.
Well,
Gumbo-
it's as
gumbo
good as
filet.
anything I've had anywhere. How about that?
I'm telling you, I appreciate it, and I'm telling you that everybody that anybody that likes gumbo loves our gumbo. I put it up against anybody north of Mississippi.
Here's where I'm with food. Because
Or
I'm doing the
Louisiana.
crab cake tour, right? And I do crab cakes everywhere, and it's cool. I'm always like, I'm doing the show at Coco's next Wednesday. And everybody knows Coco's has a great, she ships them all over the world. They're as big as your head. They're delicious. She has this coconut shrimp that she does. That is, she does it with a raspberry jalapeno. It's as good as anything. So, like, I always try to find that other thing. Because
Yeah.
I think of you for burgers.
Cupcakes, too.
Right. I mean, but originally the burger was your thing down at Cooper's and your specialty. But I would not have tried that gumbo. And I say this with all respect to scallops, oysters, in most cases. I won't ever make that the first thing on the menu. Because you restaurateurs, you're giving everybody everything. There's a salad for this and an app for that and a ahi tuna, things that I'll just put in front of the line. And I never get a scallop. I never get oysters. And I'm doing an oyster tour now. Well, I want you to talk to me about oysters because it's huge for you and what you do. Oysters make the crabs, right? I mean, you got to have the desalination and the grasses, and the oysters oxygenate the water that allows crabs to live. So the oysters are the most important part. If there are no oysters,
We got
there will
problems.
be no crabs, right? So I learned this with oyster recovery and the shells that create the oysters. Damie did a whole thing at Faithley's last week on that. But with oysters, as a kid, I would eat them raw at bull and oyster roast, right?
Sure.
They were always a little expensive for a kid from Dundalk in a restaurant down Fells Point. How much for a dozen? Just give me the burger, right? So I'll do something else. I had never eaten a fried oyster in my life until like 3 years ago. Damien brought it to me, and it was one of the most delicious things. In New Orleans, I had those char-broiled oysters with the butter and the garlic.
Bacon and
I would never think to order that at $20 a throw in a restaurant as a younger person.
Sure.
So my palate never tried it. Now I get it more to tasting, or I'm at a society event where I try something new. I'm a Dundalk guy. Grew up with ham and eggs, you know.
Spam and eggs.
But oysters can be done a billion different ways, but they're never at the top of my menu when I go in. So your gumbo is the greatest example of something like, I come in, it's a little intimidating, it's $15 or $20, it's like a meal, I have to totally be in the mood for it, and I came here for the ahi tuna or a salad or something else.
You can't eat.
I can't eat
other
it
than
all.
that, no.
But I'm telling you, once I tasted your
meal.
gumbo, I get in the mood for a whole meal around gumbo. And I think oysters are one of those things, too. They're traditionally just give me 6, it's an appetizer.
Sure.
But like the oyster thing that you do and your celebration of oysters down there, it's just a really important thing for the state. That's why I'm doing the tour this year for that.
Well, the Oyster Festival is in September, and it's awesome. Last year was our first year we kind of did it, but I've always done something at Cooper's in Slancha since I've opened. I do an oyster tasting, and it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and we have 25, 30 different types of oysters, and it's awesome.
It's amazing how different they are, too.
It really is.
Based on where they're from and
Yep.
the salination and,
Yeah.
you know, up in Prince Edward Island and Canadian oysters. And
Yep. Anything New England and Canadian pretty much are the same unless you get like a raspberry point or a pickle point. Pickle point is actually, it tastes like pickle. The juice tastes like pickle. That's amazing. Go out west, go to Japan. I don't really like the West oysters. I don't love.
They're like creamier, right? Like they're
the shells are brittle. They're creamier. Like it's just I don't like those.
I would go down like at Apalachicola down in Florida, Panhandle of Florida.
Yeah.
I like those oysters down there too, but saltier.
big.
Yeah, and
They're like
huge.
bigger, yeah.
But the oyster thing and the scallop thing, things down the menu a little bit. Gumbo is one of those things. Like a lot of people have never had a good gumbo because they've never been to New Orleans and they're a little afraid of it, or they had it at a party and it kind of sucked. Wasn't great. So that's why I'm saying like your gumbo is a leading. Diners, drive-ins. When did he come in? I always see that.
How long ago was that?
A couple years ago.
Nothing. That was like 9
Were
years
you
ago.
here? Were you a part of that?
It was in Fells Point at the time.
9 years ago?
Yeah. I was already up here.
8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Now, do people still every day come in and mention that?
Yeah.
Once he does that thing on your gumbo, it's over.
Well,
at
they
that point.
replay the show, which is great. But when Kate and I go away, we'll look to find a DDD place. We'll go and try to find.
I do too.
Yeah. Just because I've been on it, so I can share that with another restaurateur. So it's kind of cool.
Nice. Patrick Russell's here. Terry's here. We're at Cooper's North. And, you know, I was going to talk a little cancer with you, talk a little Fleet Week with you and all that. But just the state of what Cooper's is, because I'm Facebook friends with you now. I've been friends with you for a long time, and I kidded you about your corned beef. When I came in today, and this is the way Facebook knew I was coming together with you today, you were at the top of my timeline with this pit beef thing that you're doing. So you got your hands into
everything.
A little bit of everything, so I don't even know where to begin.
That's over at Heavy Seas Brewing Company.
Tell me about that, because Samantha did the show with me. When Hugh Sisson has been a friend of mine forever, when he did the Ukraine brew about 2.5 years ago when the war started over there, I decided to jump in right away, go do the show over there, and he brought you over as the crab cake that day because he was doing a festival already. So you have a long-standing relationship. This is Baltimore and Baltimore. You and Hugh Sisson, right? I mean, literally.
Do you know, so Hugh actually and I are very, very close friends. Right. But one thing you probably did not know about Hugh is that when I owned Cooper's Tavern in Fells Point, he and I were sitting there, and Slancha was under renovation. I was going to Ireland to go buy all the furniture, and Hugh and I are having a pint of beer. And I'm like, Hugh, I just don't know what to name the place. It can't be Patrick's. It's got to be something else. And we're back and forth. He says, well, how about Slancha? So Hugh Sisson named Slancha Irish Pub.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Over a beer, no doubt.
Right. Well, we had a couple, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you never is one.
And this guy right here, when I graduated high school, I moved into his house. I've known him since he came to my football games. When I was in high school.
Well, he's his own miracle, right?
Yeah.
1988.
So that's how we met. We became buds. And another friend of mine was living with him, and he moved out. So I moved out of my house when I graduated high school and lived with Terry. Went to UMBC, played lacrosse for a little bit.
It is Baltimore.
Yeah. And
really
so
is.
I was his best man in his wedding. He was mine in my wedding. We've been friends. He's not just my manager here.
Right, we're brothers.
We're brothers.
Wow,
yeah.
man. See, you know, he didn't tell me that when he gave me the gumbo that day, you know. But to get that going. So for you with Hugh, just we talk food all the time. I went into Sisson's, and I tell him this to this day. I went in there chasing girls down a cross street when Turner's had those mind F's in the those what were they? The optical illusion pictures all over the walls, right? So I go into his place, and he always had. I said, your beer was always flat and warm. Like, I never understood, like, who's going to buy this craft beer? Give me a Budweiser. Give me a Coors Light, you know. Give me a Busch Light. I'm from Dundalk, you know. Or Natty Boh, even at that point. And he had the best wings in that place. He did a lemon pepper baked wing. It was like the most, and to this day, it resurfaced at the smokehouse on over near the Pieta Grata on Central Avenue. That wing resurfaced because I found the general manager from Sisson's who added it to the menu.
Really?
But I find these lost menu items. Like,
wild.
You're not telling me how to make the gumbo. If anything happens to you, we're out of gumbo. You know what I mean? You got to pass these things on.
Right.
Now.
The guys downtown know what's going on.
They know how to make that roux?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
and here, these guys do a great
so
job.
So Slancha for you as an offshoot for Cooper's. We talked about Cooper's and the dog and Cooper's North and all that. How did Slancha come about?
I'm an Irish Catholic, born in Baltimore.
But why did you need another bar next to a bar you already had?
I always wanted an Irish bar. I always wanted a pub. And when I had Cooper's, I was crab cakes and burgers. And I really wanted to do an authentic Irish pub. So I had a guy working for me who lived in Baltimore. He was from Dublin. So
you got all that stuff in Ireland?
I flew over there.
That's why it looks that way.
Yeah. I flew over there and designed it. And with the company out of New York. They're from Dublin. Actually, it's not true. They're from Belfast. They came to New York for a show. I met them. They're like, look, this is too big. You need to come out. So I flew out there, and we picked out all the furniture, all the patterns, everything. That was 20 years ago. How old are my kids? Yeah, 20 years ago.
And you were doing the fish tacos upstairs at the time, right?
I had Woody's, yeah. But unfortunately, the deck bar was not. I didn't own that building. That was a lease building. So
I would always come and get the fish tacos there.
Well, we have them here. When we lost Woody's, we started taking some of the influence from that and putting into Kooper. So we have fish tacos and a couple other things.
Well, I've known Patrick forever. We've done the show at Slancha. I remember the Banner folks being down there. I remember doing stuff back in 06 and 10 with World Cup. I mean, because it immediately became a soccer place, right?
The day we opened.
And you're a lacrosse guy.
Yeah, but Paul, my buddy who was working for me, who was from Dublin, said, hey, if you're going to open an Irish pub, you should do soccer. So I said, okay, well, give me more information about it. I didn't know anything.
We have to open early.
I didn't know. Yeah.
You better have breakfast, right?
That's
Literally.
it. So we have an Irish breakfast every day. We're open at 6 o'clock. We're at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. every day. And then if the soccer matches start at 6, we're open at 6. But, 6 a.m. every day, you can get in that place. We don't start serving breakfast till 7. But, yeah, it's a soccer bar. It's our tag is where soccer is religion at Slancha. And everybody that comes to that bar knows it.
Well, we're going to have Fleet Week next week. We're going to be broadcasting from Kooper's next Friday in the middle. You got to get Furman over, right? Listen, Samantha put this all-star group together here. We got Chris here on Fleet Week and all that. Fleet Week and the importance of it downtown. Talk to me about how you got involved in this and what people are going to come down. They're going to be amazed. They're going to hear it. They're going to see it. It's powerful. But more than that, it's a real community thing. It's a chance to sort of, in the way we talk about Preakness, this kicks off summer, really.
Well, Fleet Week has been going on for a long time, but it's never been in Fells Point. It's always been around the harbor. So I'm a board member of Sail Baltimore. I threw my hat in the ring. I said, hey, why don't we – well, they actually asked me if I would be interested in doing it. Next thing you know, we have a full-fledged stage, beer trucks, food trucks, a whole entire event on the Broadway Square. It's going to – and live music all from Thursday night through Sunday. All day, all night. We have a Battle of the Bands for kids, which is going to be awesome.
And with the buildings being lower down there in the water, you'll see the flights maybe even better than downtown in that way.
Yeah, come to Fells Point.
Yeah, well, I would say.
I don't care. I do care, but come to Baltimore. It's going to be all around the harbor. It's going to be great. You can't. You're get back to the city. That's what we want. Doesn't matter where.
So my wife and I lived in the 23rd floor of Harbor Court. The middle of the city. And this is before 414 even blocked part of the view, right? And we would think whenever there was Fleet Week and the Blue Angels would come through, that we could watch it. Oh, wouldn't that be great? We'll come to your place and watch it. You can't watch it. It moves too fast.
It's too quick, yeah.
And your sight of light, you need to watch it someplace where you can see the sky. And that's why I'm saying, Fells Point would even be better than downtown.
The pier is
for
great.
Me.
It's awesome. The pier, the square, anywhere around the harbor is going to be fine.
All right. How you feeling? You doing all right?
All good. Feeling great.
Because I thought we were going to come on and do the cancer thing, and you were going to make me cry.
No, not at all.
You don't make me cry anymore because you're doing good. You know?
Everything's
make me
good.
cry if you take my gumbo away is what you do.
Clean bill of health.
Well, first thing he said to me is, how's your wife doing? I said, well, she broke her ankle Saturday, but other than that, clean bill of. You always ask, how long's your remission been? You say, and it's been about 8.5 years for my wife since she's been completely clean. So she's doing great.
That's
man.
awesome. Thank God.
And you did not need a transplant, right?
No.
Yeah, so my wife has this incredible relationship with the man who saved her life. They went to the NFL game in Germany back in November on his birthday.
Oh, wow.
So she flies over, and once a year he goes there. Or, we spend time with him. So it's a story that keeps on giving. But so many people around you. What do you think the morning your best friend called says he's got hairy cell leukemia? You didn't probably Google that. What the heck is that, right?
Well,
it was a shock for all of us because the history of my family. So the first thing you think is always the worst, but
yeah, I've been with him.
Right.
Like I said, we've been friends I've been there for every bit of his family's challenges. So
the first thing anybody always thinks cancer when they hear the word cancer. First thing you think is the worst, but you just battle it, get through it, and
yep. And you
and
did.
come to the bar and get gumbo from you.
Pray for the best. Yep.
Now you're running a joint up here. There's always music up here. I kid you about your corned beef and your pit beef and all that, but. How long have you been doing? You do a lot of bands
every
up here.
Friday and Saturday night live music, normally from 8 to 11. We
got a great band come this weekend.
Right.
Well, you're always bragging on these bands. You had a young lady here. I saw you put some videos up.
John Blum's daughter, Maddie. She was awesome.
Okay,
yeah.
I saw you bragging on her.
This band's coming called Grateful Dub. They're actually called Creation of Roots, or Roots of Creation. They're a Grateful Dead reggae band. They're a national touring band. They're literally going from down south up to Maine.
When are they here?
They're stopping here Saturday for an hour-and-a-half acoustic set. It's going to be unreal.
What time are they going to be here?
6 o'clock they start.
All right.
I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome.
My wife can't do much. I mean, all respect to Fleet Week, I'm not dragging her around the city next
we'll
week.
get you a table.
But I keep saying to her, the summer's going to be me dropping you off at the front door of a place and us going in, at least until she can get right.
You bring her here, we'll take care of you.
Well, I'm limited, but you got gumbo here. That's all I need to know. So come on out to Cooper's North. Come on out to Cooper's South. We'll be down at Fells Point next week in front of Slancha and Cooper's. There's a rumor Ron Furman's going to be bringing his rock and roll act back and some beer my way as well. Come see Terry up here. Come see everybody up here. Megan was behind the bar. Samantha's up here from time to time. Come see some music. And I do love you have these wooden planks, UMBC, Towson, Hopkins, Maryland, Loyola. You got all your lacrosse stuff going on up here and some rock and roll and a great crab cake as well. We're going to step out, take a break. Chris is going to come on and finish things off here with Maryland. Did I leave anything out with Cooper's or Slancha? Am I good? I even had your daughter on, man.
You had your daughter on, got Terry on. All's good, man.
I was really worried. Like, Samantha, we booked the show last week here, and I don't usually allow other people to be the executive producer of the show. She called me Sunday night. I got the whole thing booked up, and I'm like, I thought it was going to be Terry and I sitting here drinking a beer, eating gumbo, talking about the Orioles or something like that. So, Orioles are packing the bars here, though, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
In a way that you guys have been at this a long time. This is starting to get fever pitch again, right? Like,
absolutely.
Past
2 years.
Fella here in Oriole white panel cap sitting at the bar right now waiting for the game to come on.
And then my dad's over there.
Dad's here too? That's not. It's your adopted dad. If we keep this up, man, we're going to scare business. I'm telling you right now. We're trying to get people here.
Don't let him on camera.
I am Nestor. We are WNST AM 1570 Towson, Baltimore. Back for more from Cooper's North. Brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. Stay with us.